Today, inshallah, we're going to continue our talk about managing materials inside your body. Previously, we talked about circulatory system, and let me refresh your mind by ask a question about we have studied previously. So let's start here, and I'll say the circulatory system.
Mr. Can you say the question again? I didn't hear you.
I'll put the question. I'll type it in the chat area. The circulatory system is consisting of two other systems. What are they? The circulatory system consisting of two other systems. Sorry for two other systems. What are they? What are these two systems? What are those two systems? Cardiovascular, bravo, Abdurrahman Al-Haji, cardiovascular and the lymphatic system. Other questions? What is lymph? What is lymph? What is lymph? Yes, Ahmed Adil, we have a new question here. What is lymph? Who can answer me, guys? What is lymph? Cardiovascular and lymphatic. That's true. We have a new question, guys, here. A colorless fluid containing white blood cells which passes tissue and drains through the lymphatic system into the bloodstream. Bravo, Jasim. This is from your own self, from Google, Jasim. This is the definition of lymph. Thank you, Jasim. A colorless fluid.
It's like it's Mr. Like have from my mind and like the last part from.
You have so bad sound with your mic.
Yes, Mr. I don't know why, but I fixed it. I missed just the last part. I take it from searching, just the last part.
No problem, but you have to type your own knowledge, okay? Invent your own knowledge. Even if you read it in Google, type it. Don't just copy it.
Okay.
The other question would say, what are the different components of lymphatic system? What are the components of lymphatic contains and dissolved material like glucose, Abdurrahman Haji. What are the components of the lymphatic system? What are the components of the lymphatic system? Lymph nodes and lymph vessels. Bravo, Abdurrahman Al-Haji. Lymph nodes and lymph vessels. What are the function of lymph nodes? What is the function? What is the function of lymph nodes? What is the function of lymph nodes? Another question. So Abdurrahman Al-Haji answered lymph nodes and lymph vessels. These are the components of the lymphatic system. Rakan Rawish said the lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessels, capillary plexus, and collecting lymph vessels, including Rashid, don't just type from Google because there is something we don't need it here. We don't need this. Okay. Okay. Lymph nodes are small. Yes, small what? Lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessels, capillary plexus. Again, nobody take copy paste from Google, guys. I'm asking about what is the function of lymph. This is a question. What is the function of lymph nodes? I will type it again here. Control V. Lymph nodes. What is the function of lymph nodes?
Mister,
Yes, I'm coming.
can you check for me Mohammed Al-Hilal?
I will check for all of you. Muhammad Hilal said lymph nodes are small lymph tissues that contain white blood cells. Yes, and doing what? What does it do? Lymph nodes are small lymph tissues. Yes. Lymph nodes are small lymph tissues. What are the function? Fight infection. Yes, that's it. That fight infections, Ahmed Adil. That's good. Muhammad Hilal, you have to type what they are doing. I'm asking about the function of them. Which fight infection? That's true. So that was a quick revision on the last thing that we have studied previously in the previous week. Yes, fight infection. That's very good. Who's this guest? Guest. Who are you? Last one. Muhammad Hilal. They filter lymph fluid. Bravo, Muhammad Hilal. So today, inshallah, we'll talk about the respiratory system. And let's listen to a video about respiratory system first. I'm sharing with you. I'll share my screen with you. Muhammad Hashim. Lymph nodes are small lymph tissues that contain white blood cells. Lymph nodes are small lymph tissue. What they are doing, Muhammad? What they are doing? They filter the lymph fluid from viruses and bacteria. So respiratory system, we will right now listen to respiratory system. This one function is good. Let's start with this.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. Have you ever...
No. I don't have any question for you.
What's up, ladies? Brian here again, and in this video, we are going to look at the respiratory system. We're going to look at the functions of the respiratory system, its components, how the system works, and some things you can do to maintain a healthy respiratory system. So, let's roll. The respiratory system's main functions include transporting air into and out of the lungs, protecting the body against harmful particles that are inhaled, and its most important function, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So it's basically about breathing. Now let's take a look at a diagram and we'll go through the respiratory system's main components. Starting here with the nose and nasal cavity, the mouth or oral cavity. The pharynx is here, and it is what we consider the throat. The pharynx is considered part of the digestive system as well as the respiratory system, and it connects the respiratory openings to the larynx and esophagus. The esophagus is not part of the respiratory system, and I'll get to why I put it in the diagram in a minute. Next, we have the larynx, which is also called the voice box because the vocal cords are located here. The trachea, also called the windpipe, is here, and it connects to the bronchi, which merge into smaller tubes called bronchioles. And the bronchioles connect to tiny air sacs called alveoli. And then down here is the diaphragm. Now let's go through a very basic look at what happens during the breathing process. So air is breathed in through the nose or mouth. When it enters through the nose, it gets spread out by these shelf-like things here called conchae. The conchae help humidify the air and trap some inhaled particles. They also warm
Never mind about conky because we don't have it. So it filters the air from microbes.
the air. The air next passes through the pharynx and enters the trachea. One note here. This little flap-like structure is called the epiglottis, and it has an important function. During breathing, it is pointed upward, allowing airflow into the trachea. However, during swallowing, it folds down to prevent food from going into the trachea, directing the food into the esophagus.
This epiglottis is very important. Epiglottis is very important, guys, because it prevents food and water from entering the passage of air here. Because if this happens, it will enter the lungs, and this will be a great problem for you.
Mister,
So
you shared the screen.
Yes, I'm sharing the screen.
Can you close it and can you off and on? I don't
Reshare.
see.
You want me to
Yes.
reshare? Okay, I will. That's it. Are you able to see right now? Now let's continue.
Flow into the trachea. However, during swallowing, it folds down to prevent food from going into the trachea, directing the food into the esophagus. If food does enter the trachea,
So pharynx here, this area is connecting between digestive system and respiratory system. And here epiglottis prevent food and water from entering the trachea here and move it or make it move through the esophagus. So that's
Mister,
the
I have
food.
a question.
Yes, what's your question, Kazim?
If the food entered the swallow, the qualia, what will happen? Trachea, what will happen?
It will move down to the lungs, and this will cause a problem. You have to spell it out once more, or if you are not able to do that, they will take it from your lungs by surgery. Okay? So that's very, very bad problem. You will not endure something like this. So this make a very important, the epiglottis makes a very important job. It makes like, you know, the man who coordinates the cars in the roads or something like this, traffic sign policeman or something like this. He makes food and water moves into the esophagus and prevent it from entering that trachea.
the gag reflex is induced to protect the respiratory system. The epiglottis here, this little thing, shows you how amazing the human body is.
Yes, it's really amazing to know that your body is protected by this small thing.
Anyways, back to airflow. So air continues down the trachea and enters the bronchi. From there, it enters into smaller bronchioles and finally into the alveoli, which are surrounded by a network of capillaries.
We have talked previously about alveoli, and we talked about that blood capillaries that is surrounding by alveoli. And the red one means oxygenated blood, the blue one means deoxygenated blood. So the deoxygenated blood is coming from the pulmonary artery, if you remember that. Pulmonary artery pump the blood from the heart, which is deoxygenated, will reach the alveoli here. In the alveoli, the gas exchange will occur. It will give off or discard the carbon dioxide and will take in oxygen, will take up oxygen. And by this, it will be oxygenated. Then it will be carried through this vessel here, blood vessel, which is called, later will be called pulmonary vein, that will enter the heart through the left atrium, if you remember that.
And this, folks, is where the magic happens. Oxygen enters the alveolar sac, and the gas exchange occurs. Capillaries give up their waste carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. Carbon dioxide is then exhaled through the air passage the oxygen was inhaled through, and the oxygen picked up by the blood returns to the heart. During this breathing process, the diaphragm is busy as well, contracting as we breathe in.
This muscle here is called diaphragm. It's a muscle that separates between your chest cavity from your abdominal cavity. Chest from abdomen here, separated by this muscle. This muscle is called diaphragm, and it plays an important role in the breathing process. During the inhaling process, breathing have two processes. Number one is inhaling, number two, exhaling. Inhaling means moving air into the lungs. To do that, you must increase the size of the chest cavity. Your chest cavity must be increased in size. And that's what exactly happened. Your diaphragm will move downward, and your ribs will move upward, outward. By these two movements that happen simultaneously, your chest cavity will increase in size, And by this, the pressure inside your chest cavity will decrease, and the air will directly or spontaneously flow into your lungs. I will say it again. During inhaling process, which is the first part of breathing process, you have inhaling and exhaling. During inhaling, you want the air to flow into your chest cavity. This is your chest cavity. To do that, you must increase that chest cavity volume. And to increase your chest cavity volume, the diaphragm, this muscle, will move downward, and the ribs that cover the lungs here, will move outward. By these two movements that happen simultaneously, your chest cavity will increase in size or increase in volume. That will lead to decreasing pressure. If you increase the volume, the pressure inside the lungs will decrease. That will let the air to move from outside here to your lungs. This is what happening is during the inhaling process. During exhaling process, the opposite is happening. Diaphragm moves upward, your ribs moves downward, and the chest cavity size decreases. And that pushes the air out of your lungs, and the exhaling process occurs. Let's listen to that.
Which allow the lungs to expand and relaxing as we exhale. Some minor respiratory disorders include the common cold, influenza, acute bronchitis, which is inflammation of the bronchi, and pneumonia, which is inflammation of the bronchioles and alveoli. Some of the more damaging disorders include chronic bronchitis, where the bronchi become inflamed and narrowed, mainly caused by tobacco smoke, emphysema, where the alveoli become overstretched. And
all this we don't know, this is just names of some diseases that infect your respiratory system.
And lung cancer, which in almost 9 out of 10 cases is caused by tobacco smoke. What can you do to maintain or improve respiratory system health? Maintain a healthy weight. Excess weight compresses respiratory muscles and puts more stress on your lungs. Drink plenty of water. Dehydration can cause the mucus lining your airways to thicken and become sticky, making you more susceptible to illness. Consume foods rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, such as fruits, veggies, and nuts, which can help reduce inflammation and fight oxidative damage. Limit exposure to common allergens, such as dust mites, pollen, and animal dander. Maintain good hygiene. Many respiratory viruses are transmitted because of bad hygiene and poor hand washing. Don't overconsume alcohol. It dehydrates the body and weakens the immune system. Get more active. Regular aerobic activity can help your respiratory system. Add indoor plants. Plants have been shown to help improve air quality. But
all of the previous was talking about how to maintain your respiratory system health. So we have talked about the main structure of respiratory system. Now I may give you another example of inhaling and exhaling. Let me just find a video for you about that. We have explained the main structure and inhaling and exhaling, but I will you search for something more specific for inhaling and exhaling. I want to find it for you.
What, mister?
I will show you how inhaling and exhaling. Just 1 minute. Show you.
To understand how we breathe using the lungs, we've got to have some understanding of pressure. Now let's look at a simple example. Imagine a little food bag, the sort of thing you might pack your sandwiches in. Imagine that we pull on this in every direction. We know that it is then going to fill with air as a consequence. Now what's happening? Well, we've increased the volume, and what this has done is it has decreased the pressure inside of the bag.
So if you have a bag like this one and you increase the size by pulling it in all directions, as you see these red arrows, this will lead to the air to move inside it. If you have this bag and you start to pull it in all directions, the air will fill it inside. And why that? Why the air will move inside it? Because by increasing the volume, like this one, you have decreased the pressure inside the bag. And inside the bag, the air outside will have more pressure, still have more pressure, so it pushes into the bag. So that's what's happening during increasing or decreasing volume. If you increase volume of something, you will decrease pressure and you will let air and move inside it. And exactly that's what happens to your lungs. Let's see.
Now that decrease in pressure immediately balances itself out by filling the bag with air to then rebalance that pressure. Now let's contrast this with a slightly different example. Remember, with this food bag example, an increase in volume will decrease the pressure inside. Now let's look at a balloon. Now with a balloon, we put air inside and the balloon will expand. An increase in pressure increases the volume. People often make the mistake of thinking that with your lungs, you force air inside and that makes your rib cage, your chest expand. And that's not true. Your lungs behave the same as the food bag example, that what we are doing is we are forcing it into a bigger shape, and that forces the air to enter.
So what happens in the lungs is that you increase the chest cavity size, you increase the volume by moving the diaphragm. This diaphragm moves downward, and your ribs move outward. That increases the size of the lung, the cavity, chest cavity, and this lets air move inside it, because by increasing air, exactly like the bag example, by increasing the volume, you decrease the pressure inside the chest cavity, and this will automatically let the air move inside it to fill the space that you have increased. So that's how inhaling happens. Inhaling happens by increasing the size of chest cavity, and this will happen. Again, what do you want to say? The diaphragm moves downward and the ribs moves outward. These two processes increase the size of the chest cavity, and this let the air will decrease. That will lead to decreasing the pressure inside. Decreasing pressure will make the air flow from outside into the lungs directly or automatically.
Let's have a look at the structure of the lungs here. Now, first of all, we've got to think about the diaphragm. What will happen is the muscles of the diaphragm will contract and move down. Let's look a little bit more closely at what that is. This sheet of muscle will contract, and that makes it move downwards. So this is going to help to increase the volume inside of the thoracic cavity. Next, let's think what's happening with the muscles that are attached to your rib cage. The external intercostal muscles are going to contract, and this will pull your rib cage upwards and outwards. So altogether, these movements will create an increase in volume. An increase in volume decreases the pressure inside, and just like the food bag example, this causes air to enter the lungs. By contrast, when you breathe outwards, the diaphragm will then relax, which allows it to move upwards. At the same time, the internal intercostal muscles will contract. At the same time, the external intercostal muscles will relax. And this forces the rib cage to move downwards and inwards. Altogether, there is now an increase in pressure which decreases the volume inside of the thoracic cavity. As a consequence, we are squeezing the volume smaller, we are going to force air outwards.
This is what happened during exhaling. It's the opposite for what's happening during the inhaling. In exhaling, the diaphragm moves outward and the ribs of rib cage move downward, and this decreases the size. This creates more pressure in the lungs. This decreasing the size pushes the air out of the lungs. This is opposite of inhaling process. So it's related to the pressure of the air inside the lungs, increasing volume and decreasing volume. Increasing volume of thoracic cavity, chest cavity, make air move inside. Decreasing volume, make air moves outside. That's what happened exactly during the respiration process. So now we have explained generally what is respiratory system. Let's go to the, I want to move here. Yes. Let's pick someone to read from you here, guys. I think that we don't have it here. 7. And Ahmed Adil.
Sir?
Can you read, Ahmed, the first one, part here?
Yes. Respiratory system. Take a deep breath in. Now let it out. You have just used your respiratory system, shown along with the circulatory and digestive system in Figure 5. It is the job of the respiratory system to bring air containing oxygen into your body and remove carbon dioxide and water from your body. The lungs are the main organs of the system. Other structures include the nose, which moistens circumference,
Yes,
which moistens the air you breathe. The trachea, windpipe, the bronchi, the two passages that direct air into the lungs, and the alveoli, the tiny thin-walled sacs of lung tissue where gases can move between air and blood.
Thank you, Ahmed Adil. So the main function of this respiratory system, to bring air containing oxygen into your body and remove carbon dioxide and water vapor from your body. This is the main function of the respiratory system.
Can I ask, sir?
Yes, wait. The lungs are the main organs of this system. Lungs are the main organs. Other structures include nose. We have also nose, which moistens the air you breathe. Which moistens the air you breathe. This is a function of the nose. Let's make it blue like this. The trachea, another one, trachea. Windpipe. This windpipe, you know, that is in front of the esophagus. We call it trachea. We have seen it before. Windpipe. We have it here. This is the trachea here in front of you. And then we have bronchi, the two passages that direct air into two lungs. That's it, bronchi. One here and the other one on the other side. We have two bronchi. Okay, guys. So let's listen to bronchi.
Bronchi, the passages that direct air into the lungs.
Yes, we have two bronchi. When they divide into small, tiny things, we call it bronchioles. The last tiny one here, the small passages that will end up in alveoli. So this is called bronchi. The last one is alveoli. We have talked about alveoli previously. Let's listen to it one more time.
Alveoli. Tiny sacs of lung tissue specialized for the movement of gases between air and blood.
So bronchi and alveoli, we have explained all of these two things. Bronchi that direct air into the lungs, alveoli, small sacs that's surrounded by blood capillaries, and the gas exchange occurs in alveoli. Let's pick another one to read. Ammar, Laythan.
Yes, Mr.
Okay, Ammar, read this part.
The terms respiration and breathing are often used
interchangeably.
Yeah. However, while they are related, they are different processes. Respiration refers to cellular respiration, the process cells use to break down glucose in order to produce energy. Cellular respiration requires oxygen and produce carbon dioxide as a waste product. Breathing is the exchange of gases between the inside and outside of the body. The gases exchanged are oxygen and carbon dioxide. Cellular respiration could not occur without breathing.
Yes. So we have used some people use respiration and breathing interchangeably. They use it for the same meaning. While they are related, but they don't have the same meaning. Respiration refers to cellular respiration. We talked about cellular respiration before. The process cells use to break down glucose in order to produce energy. In this process, respiration requires oxygen and produces carbon dioxide as a waste product. This is what happened in the cellular respiration. While breathing means exchange of gases between inside and outside of the body. So this is breathing. They have different meaning, okay, guys? So we have here the system. This system moves, which contains, we want to complete this one. This system here. Who want to complete with me? Who were able to complete with me, guys? Let me pick someone.
Can I complete, Mr.? Can you complete?
Who are you?
Fahad Ismail.
Yes, you can, Fahad. Let's just 1 minute.
I'm going to read, Mr. or what?
Yes, I'll pick your name first. Yes, I have to pick your name because you...
Can I read after him?
Yes, what is this system, Fahad? Yes, after Fahad you will read. What is this system? Fahad, do you read? Fahad Ismail. Fahad, you said you want to read and then you disappeared.
Mr. May, can I read?
Who are you?
Ahmed Al-Mhesh.
Okay, Ahmed Al-Mhesh. Ahmed, I'll read. Let me just pick your name.
The last one, down.
Okay. Read this one. What is this
yeah,
one?
Mr. I'm
no,
back,
wait,
Mr.
No, wait. Later you will answer.
Okay.
Ahmed Anwar.
System. This system moves which contains into the body.
So what here? We have a space here. What we have to write here? What is the system?
Respiratory system.
Respiratory system. Respiratory system. And this system moves which contains into the body. This moves what?
The oxygen.
No, what I will say, oh, let's say oxygen. This system moves oxygen, which contains oxygen, which contains what into the body. We have to use something, you know, that is considerable. This system moves which contains what? Moves air, for example. Huh?
Yeah, yes.
Which contains oxygen into the body. That's the answer. So respiratory system, this system moves air which contains oxygen into the body, and the full stop. So Fahad Ismail, and let's talk about this system. What is this system, Fahad? This one?
Lymphatic system.
This is lymphatic or circulatory or cardiovascular?
This circulatory, the other one here, lymphatic.
No. This lymphatic and cardiovascular, both of them. You will find this blue one and you will find the red one. We have here two systems.
Yeah.
So this is called circulatory system. I can't say lymphatic, I can't say cardiovascular. This is circulatory system, which consists of two systems. The blood picks up what? Continue. The blood picks up what? And what? And delivers them to body cells.
This question for me, Mr.
Yes, I want you to read. This is circulatory system. The blood picks up and what? And delivers them to body cells.
The blood picks up nutrients.
Bravo. And what? That will deliver them to the body cells.
Oxygen.
Bravo. Nutrients and oxygen. And delivers them to body cells. Bravo. That's it. So circulatory system picks up what? Nutrients and oxygen and deliver them to body cells. We have here the last system here.
I want to answer.
Who are you?
Me can answer.
Who say?
Kazım Aradi, mister.
Okay, Kazim, you will answer, no problem. Answer this question here. What is this one?
Digestive system.
Complete. This system provides glucose used in.
Provides glucose used in food.
No. What is the usage of glucose inside your body?
Again, mister.
What is the usage of glucose inside your body?
I think it helps us to live.
No, we use glucose in the cellular respiration or producing energy. You can type. So this is the digestive system that provides glucose used in. I said again, the digestive system. This system provides glucose used in producing energy or used in cellular respiration. Both the right answer.
Ah.
Yes, you have to focus with me. Okay.
Okay.
So that was the three systems: respiratory system, circulatory system, and digestive system. Let's move to the next one. The breathing process, blend it and the gas exchange. Let me pick someone to read with me. Yes.
I want to say, can I read?
Who are you?
Ali Al-Muhanna.
Ali Al-Muhanna. Okay, Ali, read, no problem. Read.
after him.
Okay. Okay, Muhammad Lilal. Read Ali Al-Muhanna.
Inhale, rib cage, diaphragm, exhale.
What are you doing now? I want you to read breathing process here. This one.
Okay. It causes the alveoli in your lungs to fill with fluid. This. Okay. The breathing process.
Yes, this.
When you inhale, your rib muscles and diaphragm contract, and shown in figure 6, the chest moves upward and outwards as it expands. The air pressure within the lungs lowers, so air moves in when you exhale. The opposite happens. The muscles relax and the chest lowers. The pressure within the lungs is increased, so air is forced out.
So breathing process, we have explained it, inhaling and exhaling, and we express what the pressure and increasing volume and how this works to make you take air in and move it out. So we have talked about this before, and who's the next one who want to read?
Me, mister.
What's your name?
Muhammad Hashim.
Muhammad Hashim. Okay, Muhammad Hashim.
Mr. Abdulaziz Sultan, I want to read.
Yes, one by one. We have come to
a process of gas exchange. Gases move between the alveoli and the blood after air enters. The alveoli, oxygen passes alveoli. Oxygen passes through the capillary walls into the blood. At the same time, carbon dioxide and water pass from the blood into the alveoli. This continual exchange maintains the correct contractions of gases within the blood.
So this continual exchange maintains the correct concentrations of gases within the blood. So we have explained this one, capillary and the moving blood, and this process we have explained it. I want right now to give you a quick quiz on that. Let me just give you a quiz on that, just 1 minute. I hope it works quickly.
Mister, can I read? You said for me after Ali.
We will take quiz. We will take quiz. Wait, we will take it.
Sir, can you send the link?
Just 1 minute to open with me. It didn't open with me. Just 1 minute, guys. I hope it works. Quizzes is not opening. So let's go to do this one. We don't have much time, and the quizzes is not opening with us. So let's do this one. This is capillary, and this is alveoli, and we have to complete this one. Let me pick someone to answer me. Yeah. What are you?
Share the screen. Share the screen.
We can't see anything.
Yes. You are not
Okay,
sharing.
can you see right now? You are seeing
Yes.
right now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's take Jasim. Jasim,
Yes, mister.
we have here a capillary tube, a capillary, and we have here alveoli. And as you see, we have a connect or a net of capillaries around the alveoli. We want to complete this spaces here. Number one, moving space alveolus into space. Into what? He has this one, you see? You see this one?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
This Mr. Blood,
This is red blood cells inside the capillary. Yes.
Mister.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
I asked me. I didn't hear the question because my mic was noisy.
I want you to answer this one.
Yeah.
Here is space we have here. You see this one is pointing here, and this process of air moving, oxygen moving.
Yes.
So what we have to do here, what we have to write is space moving alveolus into what? Can you do that? And the same one here, but in the carbon dioxide. Sorry, I have answered. So this one is opposite. So we want for this one, what we have to say here.
Yes. First, we said that. Yeah, we said, Mister, that red blood cells moving.
No, not red blood cells. It's something will move to red blood cells. What will move to red blood cells? And here is the opposite. Who knows? Anybody knows? This is the end of the session, guys. I will do it my own self. Here, oxygen moving out of alveolus and into the blood stream. Again, oxygen moving out of alveolus and into the blood stream. That's it. Oxygen will move from alveolus into the blood and out of alveoli. Yes. Here is the opposite. Carbon dioxide moving what? The alveolus moving to the alveolus from the blood. From the what? From the blood. So we have two opposite processes. This one represents oxygen moving out of alveolus to the capillary or blood stream, and here is the opposite. Carbon dioxide leaving the blood stream to the alveolus. The exchange of gas. Thank you guys for listening, and see you tomorrow, inshallah.
Mr. Abdulaziz Sultan, you didn't said my name.
I didn't take all names today. Thank you guys.